In a game that had everything, Martin's block on Reese wasn't just a highlight, it was a statement as Kate Martin's undefeated Laces basketball club faced off against Lexie and Angel Reese's Rose basketball club in the new unrivaled 3-on-1 basketball league. Hayes Angel tries to say, "Ball don't lie," driving the other way, and Martin got a piece of Reese. That was the most bizarre basketball game I've ever witnessed, and it was truly the strangest basketball game I've ever witnessed was the Laces against the Rose, but it wasn't even the most bizarre part. Something happened with Lexie Hull, the breakout star who won Rose's last game, that has everyone talking. And let's not even talk about Rose's coaching choices, like whether or not she permitted stat padding once more, or how Reese was ejected from the game. You'll want to stay for this one because everything that happened on that court is leaving everyone in suspense. They're the best shooting teams in Miami so far, and two strong defensive teams have 3-0. Laces 1-2 Rose after their season opening win. Now let's talk about the Laces. You know what's crazy is that these underdogs have become the best in the league. Remember how everyone wrote them off before the season even began? Well, guess what? They're not just winning games, they're dominating them. LA has an incredibly impressive start. They shoot the ball well, and they have the best scoring defense in the league. They have a perfect 3-win, 0-loss record going into this game against the Roses, but that's not even the impressive part. These women are leading the league in rebounds, assists, steals, and point differential, and they're also committing the fewest turnovers and fouls. As if they were playing a different game, you would think that losing two of their best players would slow them down, but apparently not for the Laces, as they still have Kate Martin, Kayla McBride, Tiffany Hayes, and Stephanie Dolson is keeping it together. And let me tell you that these four are like a well-oiled machine. They're not just a bright bunch, but the Laces arrived in great form. Andrew Wade's team has played 350 more professional games than any other team at Unrivaled. They've moved up by 6 without Jackie Young and Elisa Thomas. But what really makes them stand out is their teamwork. It's not about individual superstars here. It's about how well they play together. One opposing coach even said, he's not mistaken, these women aren't just passing the ball, they're reading each other's minds. For instance, Kayla McBride and Tiffany Hayes were instrumental in the LA's victory in their most recent game against the Vinyl. McBride made the game-winning basket, and the team as a whole scored over 20 points. The Rose are now 1-3, and the Laces are 4-0. Alyssa Thomas and Tiffany Hayes looked like they were in a lot of pain, and Steph Dolson fouled out Kay. Here's the big question. Can the Roses find a way to stop this unstoppable force, or are the Laces about to show us all why they're the team to beat? Let's face it, at this point, it looks like the Laces are playing chess while everyone else is still figuring out how to set up the board. The Roses just got their first win, with Lexie Hull leading the charge, but now they're up against it. Martin is still unable to hit a shot, and Kayla McBride is in the running for MVP. Many people, including coaches, other coaches, and even players, have cited you as an example of why this is a great format for the WNBA offseason. So how does it feel for you to know that you're getting your flowers here and that people are recognizing your game and how it fits into this format? You know what they say about revenge being a dish best served cold, but Kate Martin just turned it up to blazing hot. Then remember that national championship game where Martin and Caitlin Clark's Iowa squad lost to Angel Reese's LSU team, and the antics that Reese did after the game? Well, that's much appreciated. But I don't know, I've always had confidence in myself, knowing the kind of player that I am, and it's fun because it's 3-on-3 and it's supposed to be fun. Enjoy spending time with your teammates and getting to know them. You don't play with these people during the WNBA season, so it's a lot of fun. Imagine this. Reese is about to add another highlight to her career when she goes up for what she likely thought would be an easy bucket, but Martin had other plans. What happens next is like something from a basketball fairy tale, if that fairy tale were written by someone with a wicked sense of justice. And there's just like a spillover that happens in the WNBA when this is just a good push that she's going to come right. This wasn't your typical swat. It was a statement, an exclamation point, and a microphone drop all rolled into one. Martin was essentially saying, not today, Angel, not in my house. But this is where it gets really interesting. Martin wasn't just blocking Reese's shot. She sent the ball flying so far that it might have taken a plane to return to the arena. This block wasn't just about defense. It was personal. It was Martin's way of saying, hey, remember me. I'm not the same player you faced before. Re-equipped, Kate nearly sent Barbie back to the Bayou Ouch lead for Rose. Reese Martin makes some money. Now you might think it was just one play gone wrong, but this block was a game changer and a momentum shifter. It was as if Martin flipped a switch, and all of a sudden the game's dynamics changed. The Laces, who were already in control, found a whole new gear, and Reese, well, let's just say she didn't take it well. You could sense the tension when they first met on the court. It was like watching two alpha wolves circle each other, waiting for the perfect opportunity to attack. Martin gave Olsen a look to sell out the defense. This wasn't just Martin versus Reese, it was also about the Laces versus the Rose. Despite having just 4 regular players, the Laces were proving to everyone why they are the team to beat, and the Rose were also learning a harsh lesson about what happens when you underestimate your opponent. Ticket, the player who could lead them to victory, but things have taken a strange turn and everyone is baffled. Seoul's Lexie Hull played again today, and I had assumed that after her last game, Lexie Hull would be in the running to be one of the supporting players, but in a good rotation spot for the Rose. Let's go back a few days. Hull just led the Rose to their first victory a few days ago, scoring 19 points in just 10 minutes. She was on fire and unstoppable even. You would think the Rose would be all in on Hull after that performance, but guess again, I honestly believed that Lexie Hull was one of the better players on the floor today for the Rose, and she played 3 minutes until the end of the third quarter. Given the circumstances, she had just recovered from a game in which her team defeated the Laces Hull by a margin of 7 or 19 points. The Rose's strategy appears to be all over the place. One game they're riding hold of victory, the next they're keeping her on the sidelines, giving everyone whiplash, and you know what? This decision might have cost them the game. We're talking about 3 minutes of playing time until late in the third quarter. That's like having a red-hot Ferrari in your garage and decided to ride a bike. This isn't just a head-scratcher, it's a complete mystery as to why you would bench your hot hand when you're up against the undefeated Laces. In the end, it appears that she played okay minutes, but until very late in this game, Lexie Hull was back to warming that bench. This is where it gets really strange. Without Hull's firepower, the Rose again struggled against the LA defense's ironclad defense. I would have assumed that she would be getting her 10 minutes most games with ease, and that there would be no reason why she was not playing big minutes. Even though Hull doesn't play much, her coach, Nola Henry, is always praising her. He said, Lexie, that's just who she is. That's just what she does at every level, everywhere she's at. She finds ways to make an impact. It may not always appear on the stat sheet, but it definitely matters when it comes to the things she can do to help you win basketball games. Let me get this straight. Hull's coach thinks she's amazing. She just led the team to their first victory this year. Hull's performance when she finally took the court was incredible. It seemed as though she picked up where she left off, ready to light up the scoreboard. However, instead of letting her loose, the Rose kept her on a leash because she was one of the better players for the Rose down the stretch. But the issue was that she wasn't getting on the court until the very end. This isn't just confusing, it's downright frustrating for fans. Plain sight, or is there something else going on that we're all missing? Okay, let's take a moment to talk about Angel Reese because things are getting crazy. You know how she was getting excited about the upcoming season, and while things aren't exactly going as planned, let's face it, it was a terrible game of basketball. Let's be honest, though, because this self-proclaimed star player who should be leading the charge and unmatched couldn't even finish the game against the Laces. She fouled out in the fourth quarter, and guess what? This isn't even the first time she's rode the pine because of fouls. If you're thinking, well, so she's playing aggressive, what's the big deal? The big deal is that Reese spent more time warming up the bench than lighting up the scoreboard. She started the first quarter with 4 points in the first 4 minutes, but after that, it was like watching a car run out of gas on the highway. Reese was practicing that logo 3 Enterprise, so watch the video. I liked his confidence, but let's face it, when your self-proclaimed star player is riding the pine instead of eating the court, something has to give. People are starting to notice that Jason Whitlock didn't mince words when he called Reese the most unskilled basketball player in basketball history. Talk about harsh. Angel Reese is the most unskilled player in basketball history, in my opinion. She knows she's not very good at the game, which is why she spends so much time half naked taking pictures and promoting things that have nothing to do with basketball. You have to wonder if Reese is feeling pressured because every mistake is magnified with all eyes on her, and those fouls are speaking louder than any highlight reel right now. Additionally, she has energy and an attitude, and she will rebound you, the basketball great. You have to watch this video, which is a 3-on-3 basketball game where Angel Reese strips a player at one end, runs down the court with the basketball 3 or 4 steps ahead of everyone, makes an easy layup, and throws it to the girl behind her in the first quarter. She knows it so well that even when she's on the basketball court, she knows this ain't really my thing. Let me get this hot potato out of my hand into somebody who knows what they're doing with it as soon as possible. She was scoring, rebounding, and everywhere, but as the fouls began to pile up, you could see her confidence ebbing. By the third quarter, she had already committed 4 fouls and was acting selfishly, as if she didn't want to play with Steve. I give her credit for her self-awareness, but when the game was still in the balance in the fourth quarter, Reese received her 6th and final foul, and as she left the court, you could see the frustration written all over her face. Chaco326, I love you, Steve's returns, and I beg to differ your opinion. When Reese was busy fouling out, her team was having trouble keeping up with the Laces. It was as if they were playing with one hand tied behind their back. In particular, with Hull still on the bench, every time they tried to make a run, they would look for her only to realize she was on the bench. GXI Hall's minutes drastically decreased, as if we actually witnessed that, and to be honest, I'm not sure what. If Hull is leading you to victory, you should stick to that strategy rather than giving Reese another chance. What's the final score here? The Laces didn't just win a game, they rewrote the playbook with only 4 players on the roster.